On the day a baby is born, how old is it? A minute? An hour? Maybe a day old? These all seem right, but it's really a trick question. It really depends on what culture I'm asking. So from the Western perspective, these answers may seem correct, but from the South Korean perspective, the minute a baby is born, it's already 1 year old. This is because of the traditional Korean belief that life starts at the moment of conception. This belief is central to the prenatal and postnatal practices of South Korean culture. Regarding these birth practices, there are 3 Korean terms you'll need to be familiar with. The first, Taekyo, which means prenatal education. The second is Samkil-il, which means 3-7 days. And the third is Baekil, which means 100 days. Now I know you don't know what these mean right now, but throughout the speech I'll describe them and tell you about the significance in the South Korean culture. Let's begin with Taekyo. According to Kyung-Yoon Lee from Ua University in Seoul, Korea, Taekyo is the set of principles that dictate the actions and behaviors of a woman while she's pregnant, because it's believed that these actions and behaviors directly and literally influence the physical, emotional, and psychological well-being of the child as it grows up. When it comes to physical appearance, traditional Korean beliefs state that whatever a woman eats will literally affect the physical appearance of the child. So for instance, they shouldn't eat duck because the child may have webbed feet when it's born. It also shouldn't eat strawberries because of this texture of the skin. It might become the texture of the skin for the child as well. From an emotional standpoint, for a child to grow up to be positive and happy, the woman and everyone she comes into contact with also needs to remain positive. So she's not supposed to talk about, watch, or hear about any violent or scary situations, as it's believed that the child will become violent as it gets older. They also can't attend funerals because of the belief that evil spirits will inhabit the body, which will cause emotional distress for the child throughout its life. How smart a child is when it grows up is dependent, in their belief, upon all of the activities a woman participates in while she's pregnant. They're encouraged to take classes in science, math, and languages so that their kid will excel in that in the future. They're also encouraged to listen to classical music and to read frequently so that their child will have the same hobbies as them. Now, there's already so many rules that a woman has to follow while she's pregnant, and the baby's not even born yet. So let's talk about the even more rules that they have to follow once the baby's born. The first 3 weeks after the baby is born is known as Samkil-il, which means 3-7 days. According to Lester Nagata, who wrote a report about traditional Korean pregnancy traditions, Samkil-il is extremely important as it's the time period they believe a woman needs to heal from being pregnant and going through labor. Since the woman's job during these 3 weeks is to provide nourishment for the child, and that's it, it's important that she stays healthy. She also needs to avoid what they call sanhupung, which is unexplainable body aches due to exposure of cold. So they're not allowed to take a shower in these first 3 weeks because they believe the hair won't dry fast enough for them to avoid hypothermia. They also can't put their hands in cold water. They have to wear long sleeves, they have to wear socks inside the house, and you won't find any fans or air conditioning units in the maternity ward in an attempt to keep them warm. On top of all these rules, the mother and child are not allowed to have visitors at the house, nor are they allowed to leave the house unless it's for a doctor's appointment. This is to help them avoid infection they may get from somebody from the outside. She will also be eating seaweed soup for every single meal for the next 3 weeks, as it's thought to clean out blood toxins and to enhance the production of breast milk. It is the mother-in-law and husband's sole responsibility to keep the mom happy, because a happy mom is a happy child. It's not until the 100th day after the baby is born that the focus shifts to the child. This 100th day is marked with a celebration called Baekil, which means 100 days. Matthew Fennell from the Asia Society Korean Center states that these first 100 days are traditionally known as very precious and vulnerable days for the baby. This is because a long time ago in Korea, the infant mortality rate was extremely high due to childhood diseases and a lack of medical knowledge. They're not allowed to have any visitors up until this 100th day, when they're allowed to invite family over to participate in family rituals. These include offering rice and soup to the spirit of childbirth, thanking them for keeping the child safe, as well as sending out and consuming themselves steamed rice patties. Now, these rice patties are believed to bring good health and luck for the rest of the child's life if at least 100 people eat them. So they have to send them out to as many people as they possibly can. Now, that was a lot to take in, and just in case you're a little rusty on your Korean, I'll go through the terms that we've described already. The 3 words you need to know referring to birth practices in South Korea are taekyo, or the set of principles that dictate the woman's behavior and actions while she's pregnant, samkil-il, which is the 3-week period after the child is born, which is when the mother needs to heal and nourish her baby, and the last is baekil, which is the 100th day celebration of the baby's life. If there's anything you take away from this speech, I hope it's that you understand the extreme significance of the literal connection between a mother's actions while she's pregnant and the child's development throughout its life, and how important that is to South Korean culture. I don't know if any of these traditions really work, but it makes me wonder what my mother did while she was pregnant with me and if it affected my life in any way. Regardless, next time I see her, I'm going to thank her for not eating duck while she was pregnant with me, because as a Floridian, I love my flip-flops and having webbed feet would be a nightmare. Thank you.